without further ado, then I'm going to take this opportunity to welcome to the Deacon Snipe Selly podcast, the chair of Deacon Sports Entertainment, Mr. Dean MacDonald. Welcome to the show, Dean.
Very great pleasure to be on.
Oh, great! We're glad you could take the time, especially on a Thursday. So we just finished up. We're just coming off the high of we just finished a guest podcast. Not last week, I guess, 7 days ago with Joe Bowen of the Toronto. So we're still coming off that high, and we're right into another podcast with yourself. So we're very grateful. It's not very often we get the chance to that we're going to have a chance to chat with the owner of a franchise. Certainly one that's again tied to St. John's and the Maple Leafs. So we're grateful for your time in that regard.
Always.
One of the things that I've run into chatting with a lot of fans. I mean, you're beloved by the fans. You're very involved in the team and on social media and in front of the camera, which everyone's really taken to. But a lot of people don't really know your backstory, how you got into business and your road from where you started to where you are currently.
Well, so you want me to answer that?
Yeah, if you can.
No, it's been, it feels like only yesterday because I'm actually 61, but I was right out of university. I took a job at the local cable television company, which was called Avalon Cable at the time. I was there for 2 years in a marketing position, left, started my own advertising agency, and 5 months later, I was asked to come back and run the business. I was only 24 at the time. Took over as president of that company, and part of the deal coming back is I wanted to get ownership in the business, which I did. That company morphed into Cable Atlantic, and in 2000 we sold Cable Atlantic to Rogers Communications out of Toronto, and part of the deal was they wanted me to move to Toronto and take over as chief operating officer of the entire organization. So that was a big jump for me at the time, going from 400 employees to 13,000 employees. And my deal was 3 years with those guys. And on the third anniversary, I left and partnered actually with a group out of Dallas run by a guy by the name of Tom Hicks. And Tom was the owner of the Dallas Stars at the time, the Texas Rangers. Okay. And we collectively took a public company, which was Persona Communications. We took it private. That would have been 2003, as soon as I left Rogers, literally the same day. And sold that business for almost $1 billion 3 years later, and which was 2007. And since that time, I then started my own private investment business. So we own a bunch of companies in high tech, commercial real estate, oil and gas. So we have businesses across Canada into the US. And so that's kind of my story. Always a big investor in technology, which I understand and enjoy. And so been very fortunate. Had some really good breaks along the way.
Yeah, wow. Sounds like you've been in the zone a long time.
Yep, for sure.
So one thing to another. It's great.
It's a big jump though from tech business into in the sports and entertainment world. So I'm guessing, though I don't want to put words in your mouth, but I guess you've been a fan of sports in general since a young age. Would that be fair to say?
Yeah. So not only a fan, but super active. So I played sports, school competitive sports all my life. Still play a lot of sports actually. But at a very young age, I have 3 older brothers. We started a team called the Banshees here in St. John's, and we've competed in basketball, softball, soccer, ball hockey. So, have played. I've just played sports all my life, and then of course at Rogers, I was on the executive committee of the Blue Jays and the Sky Dome, and
nice.
So, that got me even closer to the sport as well. All my best pals run Live Nation out of the US, out of Los Angeles, they're all Canadians who are really good friends of mine. And, one of the people on the boards of one of my companies for a number of years was Francesco Aquilini, the owner of the Canucks, who's a very good friend. I have close friendships with the Benson family, who own the New Orleans Saints, and and I for a number of years I was myself and the head Bell Canada and the guy who started the Raptors, John Beetove. There was a committee of 5 of us worked with Steve Nash to raise money for the Canadian national basketball team for their Olympic bid. Wow. So I've kind of been on the, yeah. So I've been on the periphery of sports in some form or fashion for certainly the last 20 years, from a ownership or working with leagues and all that kind of stuff. When I was running Rogers, we had all the video stores at the time. I think we had like 180 video stores. I was working with athletes, Don Sherry and others at that point in time to do advertising for us. And so, I've kind of been around it quite a bit, quite frankly.
Okay, certainly sounds like it. That's actually exactly what I was looking for, because I've often wondered myself, where did Dean come from and how did he get to where he is? Yeah. So I guess the tail end question of that whole segment would be, you roll out of bed one day, feet on the floor, and you're like, you know what, I'm gonna buy a hockey team. So how did that come up?
Yeah, you're not too far wrong. So growing up, one of my very good friends, and I played a lot of sports with and a lot of sports against, and he coached me, was Glenn Stanford. And I ran into Glenn one Friday afternoon at Jag Hotel at the bar there. He just finished a game of squash. I was coming from work. And I said, geez, Glenn, I've been thinking about reaching out to you. I'd like to see if we could buy Mile One. Or at least take over management. My friends are the owners and principal owners of Live Nation, and they think the market's underserved, and I think we could do something. What do you think? And he said, well, you know what? I don't think it's a bad idea, because I've been talking to Kyle Dubas, who is wondering if we'd have any interest in an ECHL franchise, because he wants to build this model. Kind of similar to baseball in terms of minor league model. He'd love for the Leafs affiliate to be St. John's, and that's how it started. We then went over and we visited with the city, and it was literally decided over a couple of beers.
Wow. When you have an organization like Maple Leaf Sports and Entertainment and Kyle Dubas, reaching out, you would think that you can't say no to something like that.
No, you know what? You're absolutely right. And in particular, one of the things with Glenn, because outside of just running the St. John's Baby Leafs for years, he ran the Hamilton Bulldogs, and he ran a team in Idaho. And so, Glenn can pick up the phone and call anyone in the hockey world. And in fact, what I've learned since being more active in it with Glenn is a lot of people call him. Hey, we're talking to so-and-so about a coach. He played with you at one point, or he coached with you at one point. And so there's this fraternity in the NHL and the leagues underneath it that's actually very close, very tight-knit, and very hard to get into. So, Glenn has a grade A calling card when it comes to dealing with these folks. And, that's certainly been a big help to us, because it's pretty evident early on just how much effort the Leafs were putting into making sure that the Growlers were competitive.
Yeah.
Wow. And obviously it worked out.
Yeah.
It did, and I actually thought from the very beginning that we were going to have a really good shot at it. And, it was too bad we got canceled this past season, because, by all accounts, at least from the Leafs perspective, we had a better team than the first season. So what a great platform that would have been to build on, 2 championships in a row.
No, I remember again, following the Leafs as diehard as I do. I remember the year, it was prior to the announcement that the Growlers were coming online. I remember an interview that Kyle Dubas did, where he talked in depth about wanting to restructure the organization to have a feeder system where it's not necessarily a slap in the face or an end of a career to go to the ECHL. It's actually an incubator for the bigs, and he was very vocal about that. And I was like, well, wouldn't it be great to see a Leafs farm system close by? And it was only shortly after that it was boom right here in our home city. So
one of the interesting things on that, Ryan, is that from the Leafs perspective, why they like St. John's is, they love the fan base and the knowledgeable fan base, but they like the fact that when they send, prospects here, it's a mini version of what it's going to be like when they actually make it to the big leagues, because they're going to hospital visits. It's all that intangible things that happen off the ice, and so they feel that it really prepares a prospect for what's ahead, because you get a lot of talent that comes up that it's just pure talent on the ice, but maybe their social compass might be a bit off, so they're in the bars too much, or they have too big a head, and they don't understand that part of being a professional athlete is giving back to the community. And so they feel that St. John's is like the perfect spot to start building that professionalism.
That's really interesting, because it makes 100% sense. I mean, we're a bit immune to it, having grown up in it, but it really does. It is kind of a place which inspires good morals and productivity in the community like that. So I'm not surprised to hear that, but I'd never put two and two together before, to be honest.
That's a big part of it for them. It really was. It was a big part of the je ne sais quoi of why this market works for them.
Amazing.
It seems to be working so far. So
yeah, I mean,
very much so.
Yeah.
So Dean, did you have a favorite hockey team as a kid?
Yeah, it's
I'm
funny.
curious about this.
Well, this is funny. So as a kid, I had three older brothers, and at about the age of about 7 or 8, I was playing pickup cards as you used to with the hockey cards. You played knockdowns or pickups and all those games you had with hockey cards. And so I said to my brother, "Look, I need a favorite player." And he went through the stack of cards, and he said, "Oh, this is the guy for you." He just won the scoring championship. It was Stan Mikita. And Mikita, of course, was the first player in NHL history to win the Triple Crown, and did it back-to-back years. And he was my favorite player. So I was a huge Chicago fan growing up, and all my brothers were Montreal fans or Toronto. And so it created quite a rivalry. And then after Mikita retired, I then became a big fan of Lafleur as he was tailing off. And then honestly, I didn't follow hockey that closely. I followed in the years because of my relationship with Francesco. I'd be going out to playoff games and all that to see the Canucks, but I wasn't too into it. And then now, I'm a massive Leaf fan. I'm really into it. So I feel a little bad because I can't say I'm a dyed-in-the-wool fan of any particular team all my life, but growing up, it was Mikita. In our office here in St. John's, rather than a kitchen, we have an Irish pub, and so we have a ton of paraphernalia in that. And I have over the years, people used to gift me Stan Mikita hockey cards, so I have a million of those Stan Mikita cards. I have his jersey signed. I met him at a cable convention one time, and I have a picture with him signed. So, as a kid, I guess that's what really counts. He was my guy.
Nice.
Kid is a good one. Great one.
Yeah, well, one of the all-time greats.
For sure. Yeah.
So I guess we'll slide into, guys. I guess we'll call this segment 2, for lack of a better word. We divided it all up into segments here. So I think we should talk about the actual team itself, the Growlers. And I mean, you talked about kind of the behind the scenes, how it got started. But I mean, you got to be. I'll call you a liar if you say that you envision winning the Kelly Cup in your inaugural season. I just can't imagine that was on the radar.
Well,
of course, it's a dream.
Yeah, it is a dream come true. You'll have to call me a liar because I do as with any of these things, you don't go in to lose. Honestly, Glenn told me straight up, based on the model the Leafs were going to use, where we had so many players on AHL contracts. He said, "Oh, we should make." It was Glenn's view and his experience that we would make it to at least the conference. He felt we were going to make the conference finals.
Wow.
Whether we won the conference final, so Glenn would be a good barometer of talent. And so I kind of said, you know what, suddenly we pick up Adam Pardy. It just felt like we were going to be competitive, which was important. And we started slow. You can see it pick up, but I think there was always I always had a thought that this could be an interesting Cinderella story. It's I guess I wouldn't be telling the truth if I said I thought definitively we're going to win,
Okay.
but I thought we had a shot. And look, ultimately on this, I'm just a fan, and I'm a big fan, obviously. And for me, and I've had a lot of good fortune in my life, and I've seen every sporting event in the world you could possibly imagine, from Super Bowls to Wimbledon to U.S. Opens and Ryder Cups. I've been at everything, and this ride was magical. It was just, and to see the fan base come together, and just the joy of bringing a championship to Newfoundland was, I still get goosebumps thinking about it.
Yeah, it was amazing. Do you have a favorite moment?
Oh yeah, go ahead.
A favorite moment through that?
On or off the ice?
I would say my favorite moment through the whole thing was we went down to Toledo for game 4 and 5, and we'd watch game 3 here at the house. And of course, I have a pile of brothers and sisters and family, and everyone gathered around the TV for game 3. And you get stupid on this stuff. Those first 2 games we won both in overtime, so incredibly close, and we were at home. So somehow, but I just thought, hey, maybe we're going to sweep or something. And then we got absolutely blown off the ice in game 3.
Mm-hmm.
And suddenly I was like, oh Jesus, this is, they're big. This is far from over. So myself and Tracy, my wife, and my brothers and sisters, and Glenn's wife, we all went down for game 4 and 5 in Toledo. And that barn is absolutely the noisiest thing you've ever heard in your life. Just rabid fans, just absolutely crazy fans. And the noise was off the charts. And I was really nervous. So a funny anecdote or story is, before the game, we were staying at this hotel in Toledo, and on the top floor of the hotel, they had this fantastic bar that overlooked the river, and it was absolutely amazing. So my brother called me. I was down in the room. I had just done an interview with VOCM or something. My brother called down. He said, hey, he said, do you have any swag down in your room? I said, yeah, I got some stuff. He said, yeah, I just met Matt Bradley's dad. He's down here for the games. I said, you're kidding. So I brought him up a T-shirt and a hat, and he's a big boy, big old former rugby player, I think. And anyway, we hit it off in a few nips before the game. And so I was walking over with him. We walked down to the arena a few blocks down, and I said, how are the boys feeling about this, given what happened, last night or the night before, whatever it was, with the blowout? And he just said, you know what? He said, the boys say they got this. They're winning it. And they just had one of those games that you have every now and then. I said, really? I said, so no jitters? No, they got this. I said, wow. So I was like, that took my jitters down. And then during the game was tied, and they had the big power play late in the game, and Plouffe stopped the 3 shots on the power play.
That was my favorite, the block shots.
Yeah, and Ryan, I see behind you the picture of Paul Henderson. I actually have a signed jersey of his in the office. If you remember that series, you're probably too young, but there was 3,000 fans in Russia that made more noise than the Russians in the arena. Well, there was about 30 Newfoundlanders in Toledo, and we made some noise that night. and Melindy's parents were there, and a few other Newfs, and we were in a box that the Toledo provided us, and Jim Bradley was in with us, and we went absolutely nuts. Nuts. And of course, Matt scored the insurance goal that night, banked one off the back of the goaltender to put us up by 2 and seal the game. And we were absolutely going nuts. And that moment when Plouffe kind of literally took the team on his back and took 3 howitzers in the guts.
It was fearless.
Yeah, it was like, I kind of went, oh my God, these guys want it. And we were across the ice from them looking at the bench, and the Toledo guys were sitting, and our guys for the entire third period were standing on the bench. No one sat down. And I said, you know, and you guys been around sports, you know that half the time it's wanting it more than the other team. And it was pretty clear that night that our guys wanted it bad. It felt, I was so bloody proud. It was fabulous.
Oh, it was excellent.
Yeah.
As you said, game 4, I was like, okay, this is going towards Plouffe. The block shots. How could you not love that? It was just fearless. I expected he was done for the series then, but he suffered through.
Trooper.
And we made sure that we put that in the book, you know, that particular.
I got that book actually.
Yeah. It's excellent.
Yeah.
Shameless plug for the book. I like it.
Yeah. I should have just had it here ready to hold up. I even got the replica ring, you know, and the jerseys. I didn't want to be too like embarrassing tonight, so I didn't want to wear it all. The hats, the scarves, you name it, I got it.
My kids got all the swag. They get it all, and I get minimal, but I deck my kids out.
That's ultimately what's been the best thing about all this is having met so many people, and it is, you know, the Growler Nation, and it is a common cause, and I have my own growler here.
I got 2 too.
And you know, that's been, I've met so many people, you guys obviously, and being part of it almost feels like a bit of a fraternity. Has been a lot of fun. And you know, lifelong friendships. I grab Rod Z every now and then for a beer, and you know, I'm in contact with a lot of the players, Todd and others, and we stay in touch, you know.
Yeah, absolutely. I see Todd had a great message there for Newfoundland.
I saw that this evening.
For no good reason other than that he's a class individual. And, one of those players that no one will ever forget.
We're going to find a way to keep him in the organization in some form or fashion, even after his playing days are over. He loves it here, and we want to keep him around.
I show my kids the example of a role model on a hockey team, and you know, he grinds it out on the ice, and he might not get all the ice time, but that's success right there.
Yeah.
No, he's earned everything he's got, and then some. Quite a player. Now, eliminating the 2 players we've touched on, being Todd and Matt, did you have another player that might have stood out to you, like that really caught your eye?
You know, Garrett's obviously.
Yeah.
Michael Garrett.
You
know, I had a lot of fun with him. You know, in that playoff run, and I said one night, just kidding around, you know, I'm going to adopt this kid. And then suddenly, you know, my social media went crazy. Everyone said, oh, he's going to adopt you. And then he's being asked about it in the press. And it was funny when we went into the dressing room after we got the Kelly Cup. He said, hey, come here. I got something for you. So he gave me the goalie stick from the championship game.
Oh, wow.
He said, everyone calls me Dino. And he said, to Dino from your son. Garrett's, right, which is
sweet.
Really, so look, I mean, you know, great relationship with him, great relationship with all the Newfs, really good relationship with Matt Bradley, who I stay in touch with a lot. Pooley, I used to have a lot
another favorite,
teasing him. When the guys played in Florida last year, I guess it was probably late February last year. I have a home.
It was.
I have a home just 15 minutes from the Florida Everblades Arena, And so I had all the guys come over, and I live on the golf course down there, and they all came over, and that was just absolutely hilarious. We had a game where we had four of the players against the four Noose. So it was myself and Marcus and who else was it? Zach, and I'm missing one other person. No, I guess it was 3-on-3 is what it was. And oh God, we had so much fun. And so yeah, look, just I mean, it's hard not to get close to these guys, and because just as a fan and that, but also I view my role as when they're in the city, for a lot of them coming from far away, and is trying to be helpful in terms of make sure accommodations are good, make sure I can make connections for them. I know when Scott Pooley's girlfriend came in at the beginning of season 2, he said, look, I'm looking to show around, any suggestions. So we set up, a whole bunch of sightseeing and that for them. When parents come in, I'll often have them up in the box and, become really close to Matt Bradley's kind of in-laws. And so like, it's just at the end of the day, it's all about the human connection. Yeah. And of course we want to win, but it's just more of just everyone having that, tribal badge that we're all Growler fans at the end of the day. Yeah. And then, of course, all of us are very proud of Newfoundland. And so it's a little bit of a show off. We want to show how beautiful this place is and the type of people in this place. And, to a person, all the players who come here, Glenn said to me, he said, look, we're going to treat these players really, really good, as if they're in a higher league, and the word will get out, and all the good players will want to come play in Newfoundland.
Absolutely.
Really, that's paid off.
It's not a hard theory. You treat people right, they're going to want to come back, and their friends.
Yeah,
too.
fair enough. Yeah,
absolutely. No, I was really, really pumped when I seen the model come through in that first year, when we seen the likes of like Mac Halwell. Just an elite level defenseman at an ECHL, AHL level. I think he's got an NHL career ahead of him. He's just young.
I agree.
I mean, just phenomenal. I mean, we got to see Seymour
SDA was another one. Yeah.
SDA for just a short stint there.
I'll never be able to properly say it. Being a Bayman and all.
He could be back. We went up. Glenn and I went up when we got the rings, because two of the players, Ellenuk and Pooley, were up with the Marlies, and so we went to Toronto to present them with the rings and present all the Leafs brass with their ring, which was kind of Shanahan and company. It was interesting.
So cool.
It was so neat.
I was following on Twitter for that one.
Yeah, I think there's a picture of that on Twitter, actually, doing that. But what was really interesting that day was you go into the Leafs offices, which are absolutely, opulent, and walk down the hall to Brendan Shanahan's office, and there behind him in his credenza with a bunch of shelves is the Growler baseball cap. And,
no way.
Yeah, so that was kind of cool. I was like, okay, they know all about us. And of course, they loved having the camp in St. John's last year. That was
awesome.
Yeah, they didn't love it as much as we did, Dean.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
I didn't sleep for a week.
No.
Lining up in there till whatever time you go. What time were we there? Some mornings like 3, 4 o'clock.
I seen you there at 3 o'clock one morning.
Yeah, it was the first night was really early. It was worth it though. It was worth it.
Yeah, great for the community too.
Mm-hmm.
Such a great fan experience for everybody.
Fun.
I mean,
we've never seen
kids will never forget it. Like my boyfriend's son, he's 10 now, so I was 9 at the time, and he still talks about it, right?
Oh yeah. That's what you want.
A Leafs fan too, right?
Yeah.
It's really funny. After the preseason game, I bumped into Glenn Stanford on my way out of the stadium, and I'll stop and talk to anyone. And of course, Glenn is not to turn away from anyone either. And I said, Glenn, too bad that they didn't win that one. He said, well, only one thing to do, get them back again.
Exactly.
So I said, yeah, that's a good. I like where you're going with this. So
I hope that happens again.
Yeah, it's too bad I got mixed up. I think the plan this year, we were actually going to have a blue-white game, which would have been a lot of.
Yeah.
You know, because it's a wide open affair and lots of goals and all that kind of stuff. So
next year.
I love COVID.
Yeah. I love COVID.
Yeah.
No, we've talked a lot privately, myself, Carly, and Chad. We were chatting about the Growlers, of course, we chat about the Growlers all the time, but leading up to this podcast, we were talking about the logo and how it seems to be popping up everywhere. It's not just in St. John's. Like, you watch social media, you watch NHL hockey games, you watch, and the Growler logo is just such an iconic thing now all of a sudden out of nowhere, and it just seems to pop up everywhere. Like, what are your thoughts on that?
Becoming the new flag. You'll see a Newfoundland flag at any concert in the world or any sporting event. Now you're going to see Growlers.
It'll just be a Growlers flag instead of the Newfoundland flag.
It's funny, you know, that's a great source of pride. I don't mind telling you, because we agonized over that, and that was kind of something that, because I was in the business, started a lot of businesses and brands and all that, is I wanted to get it right. And it was months in the making. I drove Glenn crazy. And we worked and went through, you know, thousands of iterations to get it right. And we were way past the deadline with the league for uniforms. But when we got it, everyone knew it. Everyone was like, oh my God, that's it. And so, you know, the inspiration was, I was literally going through a book and I saw a picture of the Newfoundland Regiment and the dog, you know, Sable Chief, and it was a color picture, and there were the colors in front of my eyes. And I went, okay, this is where we got to go. Glenn's mom had suggested a Newfoundland dog, and it just all came together, you know, serendipitously, but iconically. I mean, we won a bunch of awards. As you know, we won the best new sports logo in professional sports in the year we launched the team, which is pretty cool. And we were up, you know, new logos from across the globe. And ironically, when we started, before we ever hit the ice, we were sending swag to Australia, South Africa, Eastern Bloc countries. We were selling stuff all over the bloody place. And you know, one of the things Glenn said is it was funny. We said, geez, you know, we've got this, you've got a massive bunch of Newfs out there around the world who want to wear a badge that says Newfoundland. And two is, you got a bunch of dog lovers out there. So we said, geez, we got to get back to hockey almost. But so we've been really fortunate with the logo. It is become a bit iconic. We hear, you know, I've done interviews on the mainland, and they always bring it up, and everyone loves the logo. So like that's fortunate. And I think, you know, our home uniforms, the black uniforms, they're good looking uniforms.
It's amazing looking. You hit a home run there, because we went from the Maple Leafs, because Maple Leafs sell. Then we went to Fog Devils, which left a bit for everyone to love. And then we went to the Ice Caps, and it grew on people, and that became a household thing. With the Growlers, right off the bat, though, it was a hot item, and they still are everywhere.
I honestly think, and I don't know, this could just be totally out there, but I know for me, I'm not from St. John's, so having the St. John's Ice Caps or the St. John's Maple Leafs, it's like, when it's Newfoundland, it's just, you know what I mean? It feels, it kind of, you know, includes the entire province as opposed to just the city.
Yeah, that point is very well made. I agree.
Part of our thinking. And you know, case in point, because at the end of the day, there's challenges to the economics of having a team out in the middle of the North Atlantic. Is, you know, during the summer, we had a cruise ship come in last summer, and they went to a store on Water Street, Maverick, I think it was.
Mavericks,
you know, there was 400 baseball hats sold.
No way, 400.
A couple of hours, because people want a Newfoundland memento. It's a Newfoundland dog on it. It's kind of a sports team. It's kind of like if you're a big sports fan and you're in the U.S., you know, you get a Toledo Mudhens teacher, because if it's a quirky, it's a quirky different name, and it's just, you know, so we were trying to capture that. We want to be the cool team, even if we finished in last place. You know, it would just be great swag for people to have.
Yeah, even though you suck, you look good, right?
It's so funny. I mean, we had, when we launched, Shanahan sent Glenn a letter one day, and he wanted 20 baseball hats, 30 T-shirts, and all this stuff, all for family and friends. Larry Tannenbaum, of course, the owner of the Leafs and the Raptors, he has, I would say, on at least 3 or 4 occasions, he has sent down orders, because he wants for gifts for Christmas and all that. So that's kind of cool when that guy's looking for your stuff.
Now, does the flow of merch go both ways, though? Are they sending stuff down to you guys, or what?
No, not really. To be honest with you.
That stuff's expensive.
It's funny, though. They were really surprised at camp that all the Growler stuff outsold their stuff.
Oh, really?
Yep.
Yeah.
I'm not surprised.
No way.
Yeah.
Could be to do with the price.
Yeah. I don't know.
Yeah, that's true, too, right?
Yeah, like actual NHL licensed gear is so expensive. I don't know why, but
it truly is. Yeah,
that's where I bought my my St. John's Maple Leafs jersey at camp. So,
okay.
Yeah, it was. Well, I mean, that was another thing too. I mean, you guys did such a great job with the throwback. The throwback was so perfectly done.
I had to buy that Leafs Growlers jersey for the Leafs night that I don't know. I guess we're gonna have soon, but I can't wait. I can't wait to rep it in Toronto at a Leafs game.
Oh yeah,
we've got some cool things coming up. Well, the jersey for season ticket holders is quite unique, and just a whole bunch. We've started to work. The manufacturer of the AK Sports, who does all the clothing for the uniforms for the league, is based in Toronto. So I actually spent a whole day up there working with them to find out what the art of the possible was. So we've got some really interesting things coming down the pike that we're excited about.
Yeah, one of those guys from Athletic Knit, he joined the Growlers group specifically for hearing the ideas and looking at people's interests, and stuff. So it was like he wrote me personally, and I was like, hey, by all means, please, like, we want people like that in there. Everything to do with it. Come on.
A lot of people in those groups too that are always posting like their concepts of like, this is how I would do it, or so it's always good to get the fan.
It's free market research all the time.
Yes, right.
You don't listen, you're in trouble.
Exactly.
Business.
Yeah. And that's one thing we've keenly noticed, and fan base has taken note too. Well, for anybody who doesn't know, myself and Chad, we run the Growlers Nation Facebook page, and one thing we've noticed keenly is that quite often your merch rep will pop on and they'll be like, okay, here's something new we got coming. What else would you guys like to see? And they're like, oh, can we get a Christmas tree ornament? And she's like, I don't see why not. And these kind of things come to fruition, and the fans are just eating it up. It's such a great relationship between the organization and the fans, one that I've never seen before. So
it's interesting that, I mean, just how important fan engagement is. I mean, we sent out a tweet a couple of days ago or a couple of weeks ago on what kind of food would you like to see in the arena? We had 600 responses in 24 hours, right?
I was reading some of those.
And when you think about it, you go, like, why hasn't Mile 1 never asked that question? But well, look, we're all about a really close relationship with the fans, because at the end of the day, we're fans too, and it's taken time, but we're getting there, and still a ton of room for improvement.
And it's I guess that will bring us into like the Mile 1 talk, though.
I was just gonna say the same thing.
There's a lot that the fans would like to see, and you've showed us a lot that we, even more than we knew we wanted. But I was going to ask when did you first decide to buy Mile 1, but you covered that already. So with the negotiations, you had the 2019 report from KPMG, and now you're going for the 2020 report, and both dragged a bit. I'm not sure if that's just a due process and that's what's going to happen every single time, and that's no other way around it. But I know they haven't given you the in-person. Like, I don't know why they wouldn't bring you in and be like, just show us what you want to do, and let's have a look at that and let's talk. But it's just been, give me the papers, we'll get back to you.
Yeah, look, I think that, and I'll go through this photo with you in a minute. I think I can say this with some confidence, is I don't think there's any appetite at the city to sell the arena. Because I think they'd have us in for a meeting. The answer has been, we're running a process. But if you think about it, they're not really running a process. They haven't said that they're going to sell the building. They haven't said that if they're going to sell the building, here's the process. It's a request for proposals or ideas. So there's no process. All they've done is they've done a study, which was supposed to be done in December. And now here we are in mid-February. Yeah. But they did a study which asked KPMG to tell them if they were going to sell the arena, what are some things they should think about? So this report won't tell them to sell it or not sell it. And so there is not a formal process. It's not against the law to sit down and talk to us. And the benefit of sitting down to talk to us would be on a number of fronts. One is, maybe they think we're full of shit and we don't really want to do this. Well, look, we've got the financing lined up. So we could sit down and say, look, here's the money. It's ready to go. This isn't a flight of fancy. Here's the people we have involved. Here's what we're thinking. Here's why it can work for you. And, we've really spent a lot of time trying to answer all the questions beforehand and answer all their objections beforehand. So, we're committed to saving them the subsidy, $3 million a year. We're going to put $25 million into the building. That building is almost at the end of its useful life. They're going to have to put some money into it. We know they don't have the money to do that. We've said we'll partner with them. It doesn't have to be 100% us. So we've tried to be very accommodating. One of my kind of jokes that I joke is I say, can you imagine being at a council meeting a year ago and someone saying, do you think we could find a sucker to come in here and put $25 million in the building and save us $3 million a year? And they'd be slapping their legs, laughing, saying, that sucker doesn't exist. But the reality is, look, the sucker does. It's me. And I'd love to put money back in this community. I think we could do a really good job. And it's if I was from New York or Toronto and I flew into town and wanted a meeting because I said I was going to make this kind of investment, I'd have a meeting before
in a heartbeat.
Yeah. And so it's very frustrating. I feel it's a bit disrespectful, quite frankly. But there it is. And we're pretty relentless. I think it's going to be a big problem for them because I think we have massive public support. There's no downside to this. Yet, we're, as I said, I'm not expecting a good outcome because there's no interest. You just can't get a meeting.
No, it's too bad.
I beat my brains out thinking about trying to figure out why they wouldn't, because everything I look at tells me, well, it's going to be a 365-day a year operation. The downtown area is going to profit. The businesses are going to profit. They're going to grow. They're going to pay more taxes. They're not going to lose on an investment which they've already made. I mean, there's just so many more jobs in the local area. I can't wrap my mind around the why not.
No one can, quite honestly. No one can, and it's maybe it's protectionism. The answers that came out early have pretty much been shut down. We're scared it won't help economic development. Well, actually, we're going to have more events happening there, so it'll be better for economic development. We're concerned that they won't host a Briar. Well, the reality is the building's in such shape that you probably won't get a Briar. And that will be bidding on everything that moves. We have a relationship with Live Nation. We're working with them in an amphitheater park we own in Iowa and other arenas we manage. And so, guys, look, this is a huge win. And look, I get people stop me on the street. I get letters from people saying, what is the problem? And so if they, stick their head out the window to check the temperature on this, they'd find that people are 100% in support of it. We've cut back on snow clearing, Metrobus, fire department, closed the museum, and all of that could be avoided if they went with our plan. And I think because maybe it's the nature of politicians is they want to kick the can down the road. They're going to kick this can right into the wheelhouse of an election, and it's going to cost people an election. In my mind, if council is seen as being frivolous with taxpayers' dollars, and ultimately, I've heard Chairman Korab say, we're going to do what's best for taxpayers. Well, if they turn this down, I'm really looking forward to finding out why that was good for taxpayers.
Me
now that
too.
you've offered it, it's like we look at the
It's
facility and we
foolproof.
already knew what we had, and we just can't leave it as is. You know,
Yeah.
it is
No.
getting to a lifespan, and we do want more. You're touching all these areas with these add-ons, like
Yeah.
esports is such a big thing right now.
Oh,
Mhm.
huge.
St. John's
Yeah.
has that I've noticed not much going on, and you said you're going to be tied into the Enthusiast Gaming, which is
Yeah.
Toronto big
I'm a
gaming.
shareholder in that company,
Well, there you
and
go.
yeah, so Francesco Aquilini is one of the founders, myself, Adrian Montgomery. So every high school team in St. John's now has an esports team.
Yeah.
This is like a burgeoning, growing business. Enthusiast Gaming has 300 million users in North America and 7 professional teams, 1.2 billion page views a month. This is a really exciting business. And once again, to your point, Chad, is that, look, we can make this building 365, and that's how you make it work. That's how you get rid of the subsidy.
No, I agree.
Yeah.
And then on top of that, the one that really stood out to me is the double theater.
Yeah.
Never even dawned on me, like esports. Yeah, I've seen that around, like that's a thing. But having a double theater added to an arena here in St. John's, I never thought about a thing, but it automatically made me think of the St. John's International Women's Film Festival.
Yeah.
It's been around a long time, a huge,
Yeah.
long time, about 30 years or more. And it's just like, okay, they have their film festival at Mount Pearl Square, that old rundown theater.
Yeah.
Imagine
And-
giving them a venue and promotion, because I see their only promotions on a Kitty Bitty Bear Can that does like local female artists, which I like, but it's got to be more than that. And if you have it, I mean, that would be huge for St. John's.
Yeah, look, we can do festivals. Like I was involved in the startup of a festival, the Niagara Film Festival, and their whole thing is food, film, and wine. And my thoughts on I've talked to people at TIFF, etc. Is we want to do one which is food, film, and froth, which is all our local breweries and that. And just to be able to go to a movie on a Saturday night in the middle of the summer and stroll out and go for a drink after in George Street or Water Street or whatever, like it's what modern downtowns are now. They're people engaging, right?
Especially after the summer and what we had down there with the what did they call it?
The
pedestrian mall.
Yes,
mall.
yes, the pedestrian mall. So
Yeah.
that's just another, reason to want to have the mall one up and running, because it's just attracting more people.
The thirst is there for those kind of investments. I mean, one thing
100%.
we've learned from the pedestrian mall, that's such a simple concept that cost virtually nothing.
Nothing.
And threw it out there to people, and they just ate it up.
Loved it.
And
Because
what
it
we
gives you
inside, so you
something
don't have to
new
worry
to
about the weather.
do.
Yeah, look, we've talked to the George Street Association. We want, if we had ownership of the arena, we would like to opening night of the George Street Festival is a big act that we bring in that's in the arena. Your ticket from that act gets you on George Street after.
Amazing.
We'd also have an event, like tying it all together really works.
So like I'm a huge concert goer, always have been since I've been about 14 years old. I go to almost everything, and that's music to my ears, lack of better words.
Yeah, look, the other thing is you've heard a lot in the press if you've been following it about the city won't take risks on acts. Well, look, I mean, the nature of the promotion business is you don't win on them all. Right. But one of the things we'd be doing is we'd be making sure that once or twice a year we're going to bring in something mega, and we might not win on it, but we're building a fan base, we're building loyalty that will at the end of the day is going to win out. And so we'll take some chances on some big acts on the basis that okay, if we lose on this one, we'll make up on the next one. And having that relationship with Live Nation is we'll get some really, really good acts.
But you would get a bigger return on a nice facility when you have a full fan experience. When you have a big concession area like that,
we discussed this at length not long ago, where we were talking about cost of tickets, cost of an event in St. John's, and the simple theory behind it all, and this is not new news to anyone, is that you when you go to a hockey game, even you're not going. If I want to watch a hockey game, I can watch it on TV for free. You're going for the experience. You're going for a night out with your girlfriend. You're going for a night with the boys to drink some beers. You're going to get some food. You're taking the kids out for an evening. You're paying for the experience. And if there's one thing I've learned about St. John's is that people are willing to pay for an experience. And,
I mean, one of the weaknesses to the existing Mile One is, and we've done all the analytics when we look at how much people spend per person in the arena for food and beverage and all that, is we're way behind the average. And that's because we don't serve very well or very fast. No draft beer. We're not set up with satellite beer stops and all that. And so, when you bring in an act, a concert, or even from a hockey game perspective, is in the movie theater business, they don't make any movie off the film. They make it off popcorn and soda pop. And that's kind of the same thing in live entertainment, whether it's a hockey or a concert, is you want people to spend lots of money. So, when Bryan Adams was here, I heard so many complaints from people saying, geez, it took an hour to get a beer. I missed half the concert, and so I could only get one beer. So look, on a Friday or Saturday night, you're going to a concert, you're going down to have a few pops, right?
Absolutely.
You want that to happen. So if you can't get it, you're frustrated. It's massive lost revenue to the venue. And what you see in Mile One now is after games that people are bringing their own, right? And so lost revenue because it's so slow.
Yeah.
So
that's right.
We think that's all very, very fixable, and which is what brings us back to wanting to own the facilities, because it's frustrating on the fan experience. When we launched the Growlers the first 2 nights, we had a marketing agency in that had stopwatches on the lineups for food and beverage. And, the average time in the lineup was like 17, 18 minutes.
Gross.
15% of the people who were in the lineup left because they got tired of being served. And the game experience, I think on a 10-point scale, the game was like, it got a 9 out of 10 score, and the food and beverage experience got less than 3. And so that's a problem, and that's a problem for us. We're constantly banging on the doors down there saying, guys, we got to fix this. They don't have a high level of interest in fixing it, but it actually affects our fan experience. And if they thought about it a little more long term, you're paying $100 for a ticket to Bryan Adams and you can get one beer. Guess what? Next time you're just not going to bother, or you're going to say, you know what? I'm going to buy a ticket and go fly to Toronto to see my concert because this is a shitty experience.
Yeah, 100%.
And you got Bob Hunter on board, and he's been a big name for a long time with Maple Leaf Sports and Entertainment.
Yeah, so I knew Bob through my time at Rogers, and Glenn knew him through his Leafs experience, and so a gentleman who we both have just nothing but admiration for, and he's forgotten more about that business than I'll ever know, and so he would bring so much to the table here. In terms of professionalizing the fan experience.
And he's been doing it for 30 years. He's been successful with it.
Oh, yeah. And really smart about it. And, this is a substantial investment we're making, so we want to do it right. So he knows how to do it right. Ironically, you see the sports bar there. If you've been to Toronto, the real sports bar outside of Scotia Center. So the guys that designed that worked for Bob Hunter. They're actually Newfoundlanders.
Oh, really?
Who are in Toronto, and so I reached out to them, and we've been working with them on design, and so we brought in the best of the best, and we think we're gonna, if given the opportunity, I think people will be pleasantly surprised at how good this can be.
Oh, 100%. I've never been to Real Sports in Toronto where I've gotten out of the restaurant without spending $300 because you can't help yourself. You walk in through these racks of merch and amazing memorabilia, and then suddenly you get into this amazing pub atmosphere with the giant video screen, and the servers are fantastic and fast, and as fast as you can eat it and drink it, it's coming.
And the fans are alive. There, the fans are really going nuts in there too.
And I've never regretted a cent I spent.
Own craft beer in-house, and the thought is for the sports bars that will be kind of almost like a the history of sports in Newfoundland. So, we'll have the Kelly Cup there, maybe we can have the Herder and all old pictures of great teams, and do the same on the music side in terms of famous musicians and their paraphernalia. So it's kind of a combination of a sports bar and a Hard Rock cafe almost.
That's my 100% preferred. I go to Hard Rock wherever I go in this world. I'm finding a Hard Rock.
Love Hard Rock.
I just like to walk around and look at it all. And
right. You wanted a bit of a museum kind of feel, and we're involved in a gaming company called Play the Future, which is kind of like it's. We talked to Atlantic Lottery about using it, so people come in. You want to do fun bets on games and stuff like that, and win beers and stuff. So who's going to score the next goal, and have a very fan interactive experience in the bar for those who are there. So there's so much we can do to make that building a hub of activity.
Well, speaking of that, can you walk us through the picture that we have up?
Yeah.
I have both, actually, Dean. I have the west and the east. I can pop it to the east when you're
Well, this one might be the best start. So to the very left, it's self-explanatory, sports bar. But the whole concept in terms of one of the things we wanted to do was we wanted to make the arena accessible at street level.
Yeah.
Instead of going up these crazy stairs. And so more accessible. The sports bar is basically 2 stories, and it'll be a craft brewery. You'll be able to take your ticket and enter the arena through there if you so desire. So you can go eat at the restaurant, and then you'll be able to enter the game through there. And you'll also be able to enter it during the game with your ticket stub and all that. We're hoping to make most of this electronic on your phone. So in the area right behind the tree, which will be the new entrance, you take escalators up to the second floor, which will be a massive will call and box office, and probably 2.5 times the size of what's there now. So it shortens lineups, etc.
Fills up pretty quick now.
Yeah, and then as you move, you'll see 2 stories. So that's office space. And the reason why that's important is which you've never seen probably when you've been in the building, is there's a whole suite of offices in the building. They kind of run in behind the current merchandise store. And so there's actually, a few thousand square feet of office space in there. We want to capture that and knock down the walls and open it, so that end of the arena becomes a new concession area. So it just makes the flow of concessions. And then, we'll house our own offices there. We've talked to people like Music Newfoundland, etc., to house their offices there, because when you go to the extreme right of the picture and you see the extension, we're kind of calling that the St. John's Art House. And that will have the 2 theaters. It'll have a recording studio, a world-class recording studio. And that's easy to do because the equipment you need for esports is world-class recording equipment. And so it allows us to actually work with the arts community for those who don't have the funds to produce, top quality records and all that kind of stuff. So that's there. And then there's a whole section of that 9,000 square feet that's devoted to a whole new concession area. So we're pushing the big concession areas to the 2 extremities of the building, which means serve faster. That will allow us to take the existing concessions and use them to, really schlep beer fast, because that's the whole game. And so that's in 2 theaters there, and the 2 theaters will be such that you can either break them down and create one big one, or use 2, with the whole point of being able to go, like you do if you go to the US or wherever you can go to a movie, have a glass of wine in your seat, the big easy chairs and all that. So it'll be a much different experience than maybe going to the Avalon Mall. And so that's kind of the concept. And we're working on a couple other ideas and in terms of what can be in there, but that'll make a difference.
More washrooms.
Yeah.
That was my complaint.
That's everybody's complaint.
Yeah.
So what about
Haven't seen
stadium
that.
capacity, Dean? Is that something that's been looked at, or is going to be much the same?
No, it's going to be much the same. We'll probably take the area upstairs in the suite level that's currently the restaurant and convert that into kind of a VIP area. So if you go to Maple Leaf, see a Maple Leaf game or something, you're in the suites. There's a
Scotia Lounge or something.
yeah, right. There's a Scotia
Yeah,
Lounge,
something like, I think it's called that. Yeah.
yeah, we'll convert it to that, and sometimes that's good because a lot of people who have suites, it's an easier experience to host people out there, whereas sometimes they don't want to have just a big party in their box or whatever. So it just once again you're trying to create for your suite holders, your big sponsors, something that's an added experience for bang for buck, and then you can see there's a viewing deck on top. So we're hoping to do something that will have some kind of deck or something that could also be a bar / something during better weather.
That's cool.
Yeah.
And I mean,
It's
when you have a
exciting.
nice arena, that gets talked about a lot through the hockey world as well. Like, people love a good arena. Like,
Oh God.
Yeah,
love
absolutely. The arena, if you walk by now, it's rusting outside. It's really in need of repair and some
same as day one.
Yeah, and look, if we can't get where we'd like to get, because we'd love to be downtown. We will seriously look at building our own.
Yeah,
Wow.
I was wondering that too, because I saw the talk about the 4 ice level arena over in Galway, and I haven't heard anything since.
Yeah, that's a different project, and that's really something that's probably more geared towards ice rentals and minor hockey.
Minor hockey, yeah.
But I was just saying, I saw a rink in Galway. Everyone's, in chatter on social media world is like, maybe he wants to go to Galway.
No, we actually have line of sight discussions on 2 pieces of land. One we own, and another one that we're working with someone who owns the land who'd like to partner with us. So that's definitely something that's maybe where we end up at the end of the day.
I mean, again, we'd like to keep it downtown, minus the parking. There's not much you can do about that.
No,
but it's around everything, and that's the way it's always kind of been. Besides Memorial Stadium, which wasn't far from downtown, but if it's outside and you have all the amenities, I mean, why not? I mean, I'm up for it.
We have, and we also have some land to the west of Mile 1, just as you start on Hamilton Avenue. There's a big empty space. About 4 acres. We own that land, so if we're looking at converting that in the proper fashion for parking, which would be a big help.
Oh, excellent! I noticed you're talking.
It's a big detriment. You're paying $20 for a ticket, and you come downtown, you're gonna spend $15 for parking.
Offset makes a more expensive ticket, right? And that's and then that's if you're lucky enough to get in there.
Yeah, and then getting out of it is another story because you're a good hour at least if you're parked on that top floor. I'm thinking of the one that's downtown, like that the new parking garage. But oh my goodness, I'd rather just
can do about that
get a cab.
I mean, try to leave. I remember leaving it from amphitheater, and it's the same thing.
Same thing.
Getting out,
no matter where you go.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Absolutely. Did you guys have anything else you wanted to chat with Dean about with regard to the Mile 1 versus City of St. John's issue?
Well, I'm thinking this new Growlers Academy now being held at St. Bon's. Would that be a growing development?
That thing is gone. That thing, Chad, is taken off. So we're now at a point in time that to get into the camp is a lottery. So there's way more. Much more demand than spots. So we stuck our toe in the water with it this year. Once we're up and running again, there's so much more we can do with it. So one is we want to go across island. We're up in Labrador, I think, this week.
Nice.
which is really cool. And the intent is, look, have so many of the kids, pay their way in, but use the Growlers Gives Foundation to pay for kids who otherwise couldn't participate. Of course, when the hockey's in town, suddenly you're going to end up with a lot of players at these camps teaching, which is a huge bonus and exciting for the kids. And then, in a perfect world, when summer comes and there's places that still have ice down, some of the players will stick around and be involved. And of course, if we manage the facility or own the facility, mile one, well, then, we get to kind of dominate the ice time.
Do what you want.
Yeah, it's for the Growlers Academy. But that thing's gone over so well, so exciting. And, St. Bon's is a small rink, and it's not fan friendly in terms of parents coming to watch and all that kind of stuff. So, it's tough to get ice time.
It's an old one. Yeah, it's still sand underneath that ice.
Yeah.
That's true.
Yeah.
On Sundays.
Yeah.
That's where you play, isn't it, Chad?
Yeah, on Sunday evenings. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's got a little charm to it, though.
Yeah,
I can imagine those garters coming down through the boards from the Herder Cups that used to be there years ago. I can't imagine people getting turnbuckled on those I-beams.
Oh my gosh.
Playing at Fenway Park or something.
Yeah.
I was going to ask, honestly, what your backup plan was if the city rejected the proposal or whatnot, but you already touched on that. But you did mention that you're willing to work with the city. It's not just a straight up buy it, you're done kind of thing.
Look, I mean, that's just a necessity. It allows them to justify the taxpayers why they're doing it. It's probably good social policy. Look, we're happy to have them as partners. We think it makes it easier. We're going to have a lot of construction down there, so you want building permits and you want all that to happen fast. We don't want this to be a 3-year construction cycle. No. Be a 12-month construction cycle, and we've designed the building that pretty much everything we're doing is an add-on, out around the building, so it doesn't disrupt the actual inside, or to the least extent possible, so that it doesn't disrupt the hockey season and basketball season and whatnot. So, Yeah,
the only hint I've seen out of the city was when Jamie was on Out of the Fog, and he mentioned that Moncton built a new arena, and they have a European investor for between $300,000 and $350,000 a year. I'm like, that's not local. We, you know what we're like. We all want to keep it here. We want to keep it local. We don't want. We have other bids.
Yeah, he was wrong on that. It's not a European company. It's actually a company out of the U.S. We work with them in Iowa. It's called Spectra. And so I don't know why he thinks it's European, but it's not.
Okay, but it's still outside money, which you're right here. You're in the city. Let's get this done.
Yeah, look, we'd have this done now, and I think with with a council who was thinking about it, it should be done. The fact that we can't get a meeting is, I actually started to write the mayor in April of last year, trying to get a meeting on this. So it's frightening, quite frankly, that
it's a closed door.
Do that kind of investment can't get a meeting in this town.
Really, though? Can the taxpayers demand
the petition going?
Yeah, I know the petition is going. Would there be anything?
The petition would be a big help. We know that they respond. If we could get thousands of signatures on that, it would be a big help. But at the end of the day, the taxpayers will vote at the ballot box in the fall and September at the elections. Because I think people are going to say, why hasn't council sat down and spoken to them? Why aren't we doing this? It makes absolutely no sense. And I think they're going to find themselves in the position of not being able to explain it away.
And you got to listen to the people.
Yeah. Look, just use some common sense. So I think they're going to be in tough on this issue, quite frankly. And so we'll see,
Hopefully it speeds up and find out what the next step is.
This podcast in particular is going to be fairly widespread, and certainly among Growlers Nation. That's a big following of ours. So we're going to implore all of our people to get out and get up on the facts. You've heard a lot here today that you probably haven't heard before. Brush up on the
Sign
facts,
that petition.
make up your own mind, and then sign the petition. Because
well, yeah,
at the end of the day, you're paying you're paying city council, you're paying their salaries. Get those people working on your behalf and doing what's right for you. So it's a chance for Growlers Nation to let their voice be heard. So if you're looking for that petition, guys, it's a change.org petition. You can find it at Growlers Nation on Facebook. It's posted there. It'll be pinned to the top.
Pinned it up top,
yeah. And
we'll put it in the description bar as well.
We're not asking for much there other than just some action. So it's
not that hard. Not that hard.
Is there anything, Dean, that you'd like to pass along to the fans?
No, well, look, I mean, as I said, I don't feel like an owner. I feel like a fan. Made lots of good relationship. Certainly getting to know you guys. I reached out to you guys when all this started, and so just appreciate how important this has become to people. How people are passionate about the team. It actually. I'm very proud of the association with the fan base, with what you guys have done to help, really promote the team, and so it does feel like a family and a fraternity, and so I mean it sincerely. Like, I'm just super grateful, feeling really lucky, and I enjoy meeting everybody so much. It's just been a thrill.
Yeah, well, we certainly appreciate it as well. Guys, did you have anything else for Dean before we shut her down?
No, I think we covered everything and then some.
That'll be it. Yeah.
Right. Well, in closing, just a few closing remarks on our end. Obviously, we've touched on it. You've become beloved, endeared to the fans in St. John's. In sports, it gets tossed around a lot about this guy's a player's coach. But among Growlers Nation, I think you've become the fans' owner. You really represent what we'd like to see on the ice, off the ice, community involvement. We really appreciate everything you guys have brought to the table. Like I said, not just as a business, but as a member of the community. Very early on, we organized very early on in Growlers Nation. We organized a meal just to get some familiar faces together, and you show up with some ball hats and handed them out at the table.
Logo for Growlers Nation
of a bunch of nobodies who were just out for a beer and wanted to get to know each other. So all that stuff right on up through helping design the Growlers Nation logo and turning that over to the fans and letting them use it and promote it, and even so much as stapling it on the boards at Mile 1. Everyone notices that and everyone comments on it, that our logo.
I know, it's awesome. I noticed that too.
But most
I've still got a couple of those hats if you want to give them away on the podcast.
Oh, totally will.
Absolutely.
100%.
Well, like I said, when you do your history of sports in St. John's, you can reference the first ever hockey podcast in Newfoundland and Labrador.
Exactly.
That's silly. No, Dean. Most of all, thanks so much. Thanks so much.
It's my pleasure. And guys, as you know, like, the team doesn't exist without fans, and so it's all an ecosystem that has reliance on each other. And I can tell you this: I know the players love playing here, and you guys should be really proud of what you've done to build this team, because you're as much a part of it as I am. That's for sure.
Yeah, and we got to get them all back now when this is over, because they're all down in Utah, and Zach and Marcus over in Germany lighting it up. I mean,
don't worry, those guys all the time.
Good.
All right, well, Dean, thanks so much for your time, man. We really appreciate
it.
Hopefully, we'll be able to get you back to talk about the second Kelly Cup that we win. So
when construction begins.
Yeah, when construction begins.
Because it will.
Thanks so much, guys. Cheers. Go Growlers.
Go Growlers.
All
right, guys.
Okay,
thanks, Dean.
bye.
Thanks
Thank
so much.
you.
Well, guys, that was Dean MacDonald from the Newfoundland Growlers. If you've liked what you heard, you've enjoyed the podcast, don't forget to hit the subscribe button down below. We're more than pumped that Dean was able to make the time for us late on a Thursday night to come out and chat hockey and sports and entertainment with us. So
us little nobodies.
Yes, exactly. Maybe we'll be a somebody someday. But I forgot to ask him to get Kylie a job as an in-arena host. Should have been up on the list. Eh?
You gotta wait for the man to own the rink first, and then we'll ask the question.
We'll let that one.
Oh goodness.
No, that's great, guys. Like I said, hit subscribe, hit share, drop us a comment, drop us a message. You can find us at deeksnipeselly.ca. You can find us at on Twitter at SellyDeek, and you can find us on Facebook at DeekSnipeSelly. So again, if there's nothing else to add, guys, I'll say peace out. We'll see you next time.
Cheers.
Cheers.